Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey Podcast, a podcast where me and my brother Charlie talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL, the National Ice Hockey League. It is the end of the season. It's been a week since the Peterborough Phantoms have won the playoffs, and we have got two, not one, we got two Peterborough Phantoms players joining us. We've got Billy Thorpe and Jasper Foster returning for his second spout. But Charlie, just me and you today. We're going to talk about some of the transfers. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I enjoyed my weekend off of hockey.
Hmm?
Oh, I can hear myself. No, it's gone now. But yeah, I enjoyed my weekend off of hockey. I'm excited for the summer. I can't lie. I'm excited for some of the interviews we got coming up. We
Yeah.
had a good season party for the Wildcats, and if anyone's asking, yes, I do record my podcast in bed.
But yeah, we've got a few planned throughout the off season. We're going to message a few players as well. But this is going to be very stacked, Charlie, because we've got a lot of transfers and re-signings and players who've leaving. So this might be. I know last year was one of the most transferred off seasons we've seen, but this could be even more, especially with the likes of Sheffield as well coming in, and it looks like they're having a reset. So yeah, shall we get straight into it? No Dan today, but I'm sure he'll be back either next week
Yeah,
or
he
week
plays
after.
football on Tuesdays, and sometimes we
Yeah,
will record.
it
But
just didn't
shout
work
out to
out.
Dan.
But
But not.
let's get straight into it. So the first one, or one of the first ones, was Ulrich to leave Hull. And this was rumored quite a bit, wasn't it? There was quite a lot of talk around loads of fans saying that he was going to be going because he had a two-way with the Sheffield Steelers. And you showed me, Charlie, he played a few games. He played a few minutes in the games, and he has left Hull. He was their second top point scorer behind Svek. I think that will shock a lot of people considering they got the likes of Bobley Chamberlain, Bartholomew, Sobchak, I know came in half the season. But that's going to be a big loss for Hull, isn't it? Especially with Toner going as well, Charlie.
I think it's a huge loss. Set how it is. You can't replace players like that, really. They're like a top. He's one of the top British wingers in the league who doesn't play for Leeds. Like he is very, very good. And he added a very different dynamic to that team, and it's going to be hard to replace him. And I think we could probably bet. I genuinely don't know where he's going to go. I put a good chunk of my money on Sheffield Steel Dogs, Sheffield Steelers two way. Which why wouldn't he do that? He's got a couple games for Steelers this year. At the end of the season. And I'm sure he's going to get opportunities there when they may get an injury, or maybe he just breaks his way into the team. So, and he's going to be getting ice time with dogs, and he'll be on the ice training. So I can imagine that'll be where he ends up.
Yeah, as you said, it is quite a big loss to Hull. There has just been an announcement, and shall we get quickly into this?
Oh my days,
Oh,
that's a
wow.
big
So
announcement.
Bristol Pitbulls just now, 6 o'clock, have announced that Barry McKenzie is going to be the new player head coach for the 2024-25 season. Wow, Charlie, did you see that coming? I
No.
did I did think he probably signed back there, but I did not think that he'd be the main head coach there. That is very interesting. So that is the news that has just come out.
Oh,
We'll get to that in just a second because we'll finish off talking about Finn, and obviously that is a big loss for Hull. But I have no doubts that Matty Davies has probably got some other players in mind who he's going to replace the likes of Toner and the likes of Finn Ulrich as well. And I do agree with you, Charlie. I think it is going to be Sheffield Steel Dogs. That is the rumours. It would make the most sense. It looks like they're going to try and get a lot of young players to come up as well. And we'll talk about the feeder team in a minute. But yeah, so that is the first bit of transfer. Should we go on to this then? Because
yeah.
Bristol obviously didn't have a great season last season. Obviously finished rock bottom. And Barry McKenzie come in. Jamie Ellison was well, it wasn't sacked. He was kind of relieved of his duties,
Believe
and
me.
it's
Yeah.
just come now. Barry McKenzie, player head coach, another player coach, Charlie, in this league. Um, do you think this is the easy way to go now, player coaches?
I think it's a bold move. I'm going to say it how it is.
Yeah.
I think this Bristol team is a young team,
Hmm.
which needs a strong, firm head coach. I think when you've got a young dressing room, for a good example, Leeds Knights, they got a young dressing room with a couple experienced heads in there. You need a strong coach who knows what he wants in a Ryan Aldridge. And this is a big opportunity for Barry McKenzie.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't work out at Solway, but now he's going into the coaching world. Um, so yeah, it's a big, it is a risk. You're hiring a guy who's never been a coach before, and he's got to take charge of this Bristol squad. And to say it how it is, they've got to get more than 10 wins next year.
Yeah.
I think they know that. And so yeah, it's not what I expected. I was expecting an Ashley Tate or someone like that to rile up
Yeah.
there, but I don't know what their options were, and it's a huge opportunity for Barry McKenzie, and
Yeah.
hopefully for his sake, he can get some of the players he wants in, and maybe some Scottish players will end up down there. Some of the links he's got from the Elite League, I'm sure he's got
Well,
many people in his contact list.
that leads me to my next point. He's spent over 10 years in the Elite League. He's played for a lot of the Scottish teams, Dundee, Braehead, Fife as well. Obviously, he was at Solway. It didn't quite work out. He then made the move to Bristol. We got 24 points in 32 games. And I mentioned to you the other day when we were just talking about him, about how he could be playing defenseman. He played a bit of he did a bit of D-man in the back end of the season for Bristol. So it'll be interesting to see where he plays. I think they'll probably sign a bench coach as well, you'd assume, because
We'll
he's
have to
not,
have a bench coach.
yeah, he's not going to
Probably
just
the bench
run it on
coach
his
will
own. So I'd
the
be
bench
interested to see who goes next to him. If I had to put any bets, because he's been a bench coach before, who is that one who was at Basingstoke?
I don't
He
know.
played for Tony Redmond. Tony Redmond. I could see possibly him if he wants to carry on with hockey. Obviously, Basingstoke and not back this season. They're not going to be back. So I could definitely see him be someone, but they definitely need a bench coach. So yeah, very interesting. Barry McKenzie. He's got a tough job on his hands. I'll be honest, especially with some of the signings which teams have done. As Swindon re-sign a lot of players, so that is very interesting.
Yeah, it's a difficult job. Purely because they are in they're in a city which has never really had ice hockey
Yeah,
founded in it, which means they don't have the Stevie Whitfields, the local boys, the Sam Godfreys, the Sam Bullasses, the boys who are in your place who have played academy there. They don't have that academy which has been going for 20 years. So
yeah.
it's difficult to go there and have established players who are already playing there. So he's got a tough role, but I guess it's not too much pressure on him. He's just got to keep taking improvements each year, and it's a great opportunity for him to, as he is getting on the older side of
He's
his office.
37.
We know that. It's a great opportunity for him to transfer potentially into coaching in the future and being a
Yeah.
national league coach, maybe even elite league. Who knows where he could go?
Yeah, I think now they've announced him as the player coach. We might see a few signings announced as well. Let's move on to the other side of Hull. They did get rid. Obviously, they did lose Ulrich, but they brought in Zamostra. And it's a good signing. It's a great signing. We know how good he's been with Sheffield. He's obviously won the double with Sheffield. He was a massive part of that playoff win, where they beat that good Milton Keynes Lightning team 4-1. And he was a massive reason for that. And he's always been one of the best goalkeepers in this league. And obviously, Sheffield are changing the ways they're going. And Hull have capitalised on that with Zamostra. Charlie, first of all, I'll give you my, I guess, devil's advocate to it in a second. But it's a good signing, isn't it, nonetheless?
Yeah, it's a good signing. Zamodra is a top goalie in this league, who's won many trophies in the last couple of years and been in all the big moments. And he's a big part of any team. And yeah, I know what your devil's advocate is going to be. So
Yeah, so I said this to Charlie as soon as it was announced. Obviously, you've got this young goalkeeper, McLaughlin, who I think had a pretty good season. It was pretty tough ending to the season last year, but he's going to be hungry to keep on going. And when you sign someone like Zamostra, there's going to be that 1A, 1B possibly. I know Zamostra's 35, but the past few seasons, he's played 39 games, 54 games, 42 games, 44. He's shown that he can play a lot of games. And he's not just going to come to Hull for a little payday to be sat on the bench. He's going to want to play some games, isn't he, Charlie? So it's a bit of competition for McLaughlin. It could work really, really well. You see it with Boston at the moment. They've got, I know it's the NHL, but they got Allmark and Swayman, two fantastic goalkeepers, and one of those has capitalised and has taken that number one role, which is Swayman. So it will be interesting to see who gets that number one. The only thing I will say on it, Charlie, is both of them are going to want to play in those big games, and yeah, I don't know. What's your take on it?
If I was McLaughlin, I'd be a little bit frustrated.
Yeah,
But if you're good enough, you get the starting spot. So it's one of them things which will make or break a player. Zamodra, he's kind of not got too much pressure on him.
no,
He's 35. He's coming to the end age of his career. He's signed at Hull. I have a feeling there'll be games agreed. So Modra doesn't always travel to every game with the Steel Dogs. So I
yeah.
can imagine that will happen with the Hull Seahawks. But it's a tough one if you're McLaughlin, but it's also a motivator to get you working hard and ready for the season. And it's going to be interesting. It either goes one of two ways when you
On,
have two good
on,
goalies.
on the flip side, Zamosra is 35. He isn't going to be able to play all the games. And that could be a kind of good thing for McLaughlin that he can maybe learn off Samostra. We saw it with Skins and Mar. Mar was the number one, but Skins was always there to play if Mar was going through a tough time. And I think Mar did learn a lot from Skins because it gave him that even more hunger to try and make himself at number one, didn't it, for Rennie? So that could be the same with McLaughlin. And I'll be interested to see who are they going to start the season with.
He's
I
going
don't
to play
know.
the big game.
It's a tough decision for Matty as well. It is a tough decision for Matty. What were you going to say?
He's going to play the big games.
Yeah, who's going to be playing those cup games, those playoff games? I know it's a long way, but you got to think about those stuff. So yeah, Zamosra was announced to Hull, but on a whole, it is a good signing. You're not going to be disappointed with a good keeper coming in like that, and it creates competition. Moving on to the bees, then they got rid of, or well, they have left Mackenzie and Webb. They are not returning. So I think Webb could be going to Slough, Charlie, possibly. We were talking about this. It hasn't been announced or anything like that, but I
Maybe,
could
I don't know.
definitely see
Yeah.
that where he could go.
Yeah, I really don't know with him. He's been at Bees for so long. I don't really know where he's going to go.
Yeah, and then Zane McKenzie. He's an interesting one because he's been around a few teams, hasn't he? He's been at Milton Keynes, he's been at the Bees, he's been at Telford. It's not quite worked at any of the teams to hit those levels, which I think he can do. I really don't know which team he goes to next. Maybe he tries out at Bristol in that young team under Barry McKenzie. I really don't know, Charlie. What do you think?
He hasn't really found his place in any team he was in. He hasn't really got the ice time or produced as much as probably he would have wanted to. So yeah, I think he's just got to try solidify himself on a team and develop. Who knows? Maybe he'll go to the elite league. I know he's with Nottingham for a bit. So you just don't know, but he'll want to solidify himself, some consistent minutes, and get on the score sheet a lot more.
Someone they did sign, Antonov. I don't think he was really going to go to any other team, was it? He's signed for the Bees again, and he was a big piece for him last season. And it seems like he's got his little home at Bees, doesn't it, Charlie? And I don't think we'll see him go to another team really. And that's a good one for goodbye to lock down, isn't it? Especially with someone who I'll mention in a second who's going to be leaving.
Yeah, he played a lot of games actually, Antonov. More than I expected him to
Yeah,
last season. So having him back, trying to improve on last year, even though they've lost another player. I think he'll be a nice piece to add to their puzzle.
yeah. And that player who has left is Mr. Ed Bradley. And he has come to the Swindon Wildcats, Charlie, our first new player of the season. And you'd assume that's the replacement for Whitfield. We'll firstly talk about it from a Bees perspective. Obviously, they didn't have him at the start of the season. He joined from Bristol. He went back to Bees, and I think he just suited Bees a bit more. He felt a bit more comfortable at Bees. And he did really well. We got 25 points in 32 games, I think it was, which is quite solid as a defenseman. And for Swindon, that is going to bring a lot of offense, isn't it?
Yeah, we've lacked an offensive defenseman almost since Sam Jones left. A long time ago. I think Eddie Bebris has his offense, but it's not like consistent offense
Yeah,
where you get it every game. And Ed Bradley potentially going to challenge to get on the Swindon power play. He's in my 2 years ago, he was seen as the best young talented defenseman in the league.
yeah.
Um, the guy is full of talent, and I can imagine he's probably quite hungry to win some trophies.
Wow. I'll get on to that, Charlie.
He hasn't won any in his career in England, and he's joined a team which can.
Yeah, and I'll get on to that because I did drop him a message and he did say, I'm really hungry to win trophies next season with the Wildcats. So, yeah, I think that's a really good sign in. As I said, it's a different player to Whitfield. Whitfield is a lot more defensive, and you know what you're getting. He's going to give 110%. But I think it takes a bit of pressure off Bebris now to be that guy who's going to put all of the offense. I think it takes a lot of pressure on him, and maybe Bebris can focus even more on the defensive side because he knows that Bradley is going to bring offense on another line. So we were talking about it though. It'll be interesting to see which D partners him. Now, me and you were saying Jamie Smith. We think that could be a really, really good pairing because Jamie has come on leaps and bounds this season. He's been absolutely fantastic defensively. I think he's established himself as that defensive D man, which Swindon have been looking for coming up the ranks. And yeah, I think him and Ed complement each other quite well. And the fact that Ed's very offensive can bring a lot of points, and Jamie can almost cover him, can't he?
Yeah, sorry, I zoned out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jamie and Ed for me would be a good pairing. Potentially another guy we could bring in. I don't know who could pair Ed. But yeah, Jamie's for me one of the best under 20 British defensemen in the
yeah,
league. He's so calm and collected, and having someone like Ed next to him be perfect because he can just say, "Ed, I don't want the puck. You do what you do. You're good with the puck. You pass it forward, and I'll
yeah.
just focus on my game." And I think it would help both each other out, and that could be a very good second pairing.
Absolutely. Someone else who signed on for Swindon is Rennie Ma. And after recent news and all of the stuff happening with goalkeepers, I am so relieved that we have signed Rennie Ma because it's so hard to replace a solid goalkeeper, isn't it, Charlie? And I think if we hadn't signed Rennie Ma, I didn't even know what route we'd be going down because there's a lot of talented young goalkeepers, but you don't have any goalkeepers out there. I know Zamodra signed for Hull, but apart from that, you don't really have any goalies who's played in this league for a while who you could sign. So I think that's a really, really good bit of business to get Rennie back on board for next season.
Yeah, it's important getting your starting Tendy, who's you know what you're getting from Rennie. He's a good goalie. He's won trophies in this league. He'll want to win more trophies. He had a good playoffs. He couldn't have done anything about the semis, and he's one of the top five goalies in the league. I don't really think that's up for debate. So when you got one of them behind you, you can win stuff.
And that kind of takes a bit of pressure off that Rennie's signed quite early, so you can now build in front of Rennie. And obviously, we announced Bradley the other day, so it's clear that Nelly's now building that team in front of Rennie. And I think we're going to see quite a similar team next season. And I think that's actually a really good thing because we know what this team can do, and we'll get a full season at the Link Centre. So I'm really excited. It'll be interesting to see if Swindon do replace Cowley, if we bring in someone else for Russ Cowley. Moving away from Swindon then, let's go on to Milton Keynes. Now, they announced that Green is it retiring? They say he's going to be retiring, and obviously Christie's retired. As you said, I think they could easily go and play in a league below team. Obviously, it's up to them. But Green is retiring, and he's played for Milton Keynes pretty much his whole career. I think he's been around. I think a couple of teams, but pretty much been at Milton Keynes. And that means that they're missing Green and Christie from defence. So I do expect them, Charlie, to bring in some D men this summer.
Yeah, two big holes to fill. Like I said when I was talking about Bristol earlier, the local lads are really important to get success. And obviously MK quite haven't got to the trophy level apart from this season where they won their cup. But even back in the EPL days, these boys were a part of their league winning teams. And having them local defensemen, which you know what you're going to get, and they've almost signed at MK every year they've been in our league. So it's important, and they're going to have to get some big players to replace them big losses.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that because as we've mentioned since we started this podcast, It's not easy to get those high-end quality defensemen because there's just not as many as them as there is forwards. You can easily go and get some high-end forwards, but defensemen, they're a bit harder to come by. So very interested to see who they replace them with. But they do have a lot of young defensemen coming up as well. You got the likes of Malik, Salisbury as well, who's coming up. So it'll be a big opportunities for them. They have re-signed three players. They've re-signed the goalie tandem. Charlie, for me, I think that is the best goalie pairing in the league. I think Headley and Curlin had a real big job this season. He actually come in and played a lot of games when Headley was injured, and Milton Keynes didn't really look out of place. They managed to keep up that winning streak at home. So I think that's really good business getting those goalkeepers back.
Yeah, it's a great tandem, and you got a good one in Hull now, which is going to challenge that
Oh
tandem.
yeah, didn't think about
Um,
that actually. Yeah.
but yeah, Headley's a top starter, very good save percentage. Probably injury annoyed his season quite a lot. He would have liked to play a bit more. Curlin came in, big part of that squad. Always becomes a difficult decision for the coach on who's you're going to chuck out, who's going to play. But yeah, you can't go wrong with them two. They're both, wow, Headley's a very good starter in this league, and Curlin, some teams he'd debatably start for.
I think the difference is though that you know that Headley is the number one. Whereas if you told me right now who's the number one for Hull, I actually don't know. I genuinely don't know who you'd say. So that's the interesting bit on it. And Wallace re-signed for Milton Keynes, another player coach. There was talk on Twitter and some group chats on whether Wallace would stay on as head coach, whether he'd just become full-time head coach and not actually be a player. But he is the player coach again, Charlie. They certainly missed him in that playoff run, didn't they? In those first four games. What was your thoughts on when they re-signed him?
Good signing. He's got them their first trophy. He'll want more. He wants to win more than a League Cup. Well, is it League Cup? No,
It's a National Cup.
National Cup. He'll wanna win a league or a playoff. And he's been given a lot of the tools in the last 2 seasons to sign the players he wants and the team he wants to build. And I think the third year will be a very pressured year. I think they know that
Yeah.
when you're the coach of MK, there's pressure on you to win. But he does enjoy playing. He's an ex-NHLer. And at the end of the day, he still picks up 60, 70 points in this league. And
Oh
he's
yeah.
very good on the power play, does PK work, good physical game. And
There's
it showed they missed him when he was out.
there's no doubt he is a fantastic player. As you said though, this season is pressure. I don't think a club size of MK and the talent which MK have got, I don't think they can miss out on playoffs again at Coventry. I really don't. And I think if they do miss out, then I think they do have to look at the coaching and go, right, maybe we need a full-time bench coach because that's been a lot of talk. Is a team better off? Like you're looking at Slavi, you're looking at Ryan Aldridge. They're on the bench full time, and they won the big trophies this season. So be interesting to see this season if MK can get to the playoffs. I do. They've got to really. But it would be interesting to see if they can now get a league title or a playoff title. But yeah, Wallace. He's a cracking player. He's an ex-NHL player who's playing in our league. So no complaints there. A couple more signings then. Stubley announced yesterday re-signing for Hull, another young player, another player who's been around that whole team since the whole Pirate days. I think he's a pretty solid third line defenseman, Charlie.
Sorry.
Long day.
Yeah, Stubley's good. He's a third pair in D. Sometimes moves up when there's injuries. Been there for a long time. Skates pretty well. Big physical body. He's kind of one of them local lads who is going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, and I think he's quite funny in the dressing room as well. I think he's good friends with Spec as well. I remember they did a podcast at the start of the season on whole social media. That Stubley just could not stop laughing at Spec. So I think he's good to have around the dressing room as well. The final two signings before we get into the interview, which I'm sure a lot of people are waiting for. Hepburn signed for the Solway Sharks, another re-signing of a goalkeeper. It's safe to say I think he became the starter, didn't he, in Solway, Charlie?
Yeah, he took over the starting role. He did okay with it. It was his first year in the National League, so it was a big challenge for him. adapting to the league, and he's gonna want to improve on that this year. And whoever their other goalie is in the tandem, he's not gonna want them to take his starting spot, so he's gonna
Yeah.
work hard to keep him.
Yeah, as you said, it was his first season last season. I think a lot of the Solway boys were quite shocked at how competitive it was in our league. So they've had a season in it now. He's had a season in it now. He's had a feel for what kind of forwards he's going to be up against, and he's got something to prove. He's got something to prove this season on why he should be a starter in the National League. But as you said, it'll be interesting to see which backup goalkeeper they sign with him. And then the final signing announcement, it's another player coach. It is Ben Morgan. And I was actually very shocked about this. I think this is the most surprised I've been. Ben Morgan, the player coach of the Sheffield Steel Dogs. Now, obviously, they're going to have a bench coach come in. It was Jason Hewitt last year who was the player coach. He then stepped down. Ben Morgan this time, he's been around that Sheffield team.
Coach before.
What's that?
He's been coached before as well.
Who, Ben Morgan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, he's been around that Sheffield team for a long time. He knows what it's all about. He knows what it's about playing for that Sheffield Steel Dogs. Um, Interesting one. I wouldn't have put him as a coach, to be fair, but that could prove me wrong. He's going to be playing alongside it. I know he got an injury last season at the back end, so he didn't really play, but he is still a top defenseman in this league. And like Barry McKenzie, he is a senior player who's going to have to coach some of these young boys that come in, isn't he, Charlie?
Yeah,
Because it looks like Sheffield are going to have quite a big reset.
He coached for 3 years.
Okay.
17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20 season. And he's been player assistant coach for the last 2 seasons. So, yeah, he gets along with the Sheffield lads. He knows what it's like and he knows what it means to be a Sheffield player. He's won trophies as a coach. And what I can gather, he's probably going to have a young team. So he's got to be good at developing young talents and players. And I think it's a cool opportunity for him, and he's a good defenseman, and it's good that he's got coaching experience under his back because he's not just going into this fresh; he's going into this with 3 years as a coach.
Yeah. I just can't wait to see what Sheffield do with their team and which players they bring in. There's been so many rumours. Obviously, you've got this rumour account on Twitter, which I think a lot of them aren't really that true. But yeah, we'll see what they do. This leads us nicely. Peterborough have actually got a signing on Thursday, but we spoke to two Peterborough lads in Billy Thorpe and Jasper Foster who spoke about their playoff win, the season, the ups and downs. So we'll send it over to the interview. It is a little beauty interview. So yeah, we'll see you after the interview. Welcome back, everyone. We've got two really big guests on the podcast. We've got some playoff champions. We are joined again by Jasper. You're the first person to come back, or first player to come back. How does that feel on the podcast?
I'm honoured and honoured. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. And we're also joined by Billy Thorpe, playoff champion as well. Billy, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas.
It's been a week. How does it feel?
Oh, mate, I still can't get over it, to be honest. It's just crazy, waking up the next day and just realising, like, what's just happened. Yeah, it was a great feeling. And, yeah, probably the best moment of my career, 100%.
Nice one. And you, Jasper, how did it feel? Did it actually feel real when Luke Ferrara stuck it in?
It's hard to say. Like, it was obviously the best moment of my hockey career so far. Seeing him win that, I think, because we were the underdogs throughout the whole season, and maybe even in just like the playoffs and throughout the whole season, I think.
Yeah.
It finally went in after Brad absolutely tore it up in that shot that I saw you guys mentioned. When Luke put it top shelf, it was just you almost black out. You don't really think of it. You just try to get on the ice as quickly as possible. Just get your kit off and just start celebrating.
Go on, Charlie.
It's like your second time at Coventry, lads. Oh no, this is your first time, was it, boys?
Well, our first year we made it, but I was like 16.
Yeah.
So I got a few shifts in the first period, and then that was when we lost to MK in the semis. Yeah.
So how did you find it coming to Coventry as you played regular third line minutes, Jasper? Billy, I think you were second pair D. How was it regular minutes in the Coventry rink with all the fans sell out for the first time in years as well?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously So we were the second game.
Mm.
So when you come in, you see the crowd, and it's like, oh, like this is pretty big. And then you go on for warm up, and it starts getting busy, and then you're finally out there, and it's like every time you step on the ice, it was a crazy feeling. That's the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. And then obviously to win it, yeah, it's just crazy.
How were the nerves, Jasper, going into it? Obviously, stepping out and yeah, just in front of all the different fans, and Peterborough brought quite a lot as well. They came in numbers.
Yeah, so I think it's always nerve wracking. Like it doesn't matter how many people you've played in front of before. Stepping up in front of that many people is always nerve wracking. But I think get out into warm up, you start feeling yourself a little bit, and then you almost calm yourself down in the change room beforehand. Like it's just another game. Obviously, there's a lot on the line, but you can't let that get to your head. And I think after your first shift, you just feel fine. You almost block out the crowd around you and just focus on the game and just do the task at hand, and that was to win the cup. So that's
Yeah.
what we need to do.
We'll go back to this. We'll go back to the start of the season. Then, obviously, you guys lost a couple players. You lost Glennie. I think you lost Ralphs as well. He went to Bristol, but you brought in Luke Ferrara. It was quite a tough season on a whole, wasn't it? You obviously had loads of injuries, players missing. Billy, how did you find it? Obviously, coming. You said before we started recording, you got plenty of opportunities with the injuries. Do you think this was a real step up season for yourself?
Yeah, I guess obviously the injuries and stuff wasn't good for us as a team, but if you look at it on a personal level, I was playing a bigger role, playing top four. I
Yeah.
was getting at least 20 minutes a night. It was great for my development.
Hmm.
But yeah, to be honest with you, I can't remember the last game we played with a full team. Like, I actually don't know. I couldn't tell you. Obviously, we had dunks out, we've had suspensions, we've had countless injuries. It felt like every time we got one guy back, some
Yeah.
guy went again. I remember Robert, I think he broke his foot, come back, in the game of Milton Keynes, he like fractured his wrist. It was like he comes back and goes again. So yeah, in terms of the year of luck with injuries and that, it hasn't been great. But yeah, personally, I feel like it's helped me because obviously got a lot more ice time, which is always good. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice one.
Jasper, you've been up and down the lineup, I can imagine, because
Yeah.
forwards in Peterborough, you've either had going into some games 9, some games 12. What's it been like trying to basically not get a consistent line mate? You're constantly swapping around.
Yeah, it's always a bit different. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but you've almost got to adapt to the people you play with. Obviously, some are faster, some are slower, some will find you in different spots. And yeah, I wouldn't say it affected the season a little bit, but it almost does. I think if everyone felt the effect of it happening, obviously, when you're playing with the same two people each weekend in and out, you get to know where they're going to be, you know where they're going to shoot, pass. So I think going into the season, we had a unbelievable lineup, and then obviously losing them all, you never know who you're going to have, who you're going to lose. So it's always difficult, and I think a lot of the guys on the team felt that it was a bit of a step back, losing that many guys. But I think as a team, we all did unbelievably well to develop and adapt to the situation that we had. Guys coming in, playing with different guys that have never even stepped on the ice with before, and just making plays happen and making it work. So I think as a whole of the season, we did well to overcome what we actually went through. And
Yeah.
I think it just showed at the end of the playoffs what really we can do when we have a full team. And even then, we didn't have a full team. We still
Yeah.
had. So I think as a whole, it's just, yes, it's difficult, but we have the guys on our team. We've got the experience and then the young guys as well that can bring in, step up and make it happen for us.
One player, obviously who's been brought back to the Phantoms is Luke Ferrara, and we'll go on to him. When he first come in, obviously we knew what he was about. He played in the Elite League. Just how good is he, Billy? For you seeing him week in, week out, at training and games, some of the stuff which the fans might not realise about him.
It's kind of crazy to be fair, because obviously as a kid I used to go watch. I watched Luke, play when he was here before, and then now to play with him is crazy. But no, like he's such a professional. Like the way he carries himself around the rink, he's always stretching, looking after himself, and he's such a humble guy. You think
Yeah.
maybe some guys, if they're that good, they can, be a bit cocky or whatever. But nah, Luke's honestly the most nicest guy I'd ever meet. Yeah, and he's just such a professional. And I think this year you've really seen like how good he is. Like we've seen him in training, and that it's just like his shot is a joke, and yeah, he's an unreal player. Probably the best player I've ever played with. To be fair.
Really?
Yeah,
Because he's, I think I put out a stat earlier on in the season when he hit that 100 point mark. I don't think a Peterborough player's done that for
no,
over 10 years. And for him to get that in the Peterborough team and stepping up, I think this season you kind of needed him in terms of the amount of injuries you've had. And what kind of stuff did he do as a leadership role for the team?
like when we're in the change room, it would just like calm us down. There's quite a lot of leaders in that team. You got Norts, Worlds,
Mm,
Feds. Like there's a few guys that will take control, and especially in Cov, like when we was going was one when we was 1-0 down to Leeds, like they were like, yeah, we're fine. We
mm,
wanted to be here. We're in the game. Just calm down. We're in the game, and yeah, they just settle the nerves, and especially for us young guys, it's great to learn off guys like that who've had the experience at the elite league, and yeah,
yeah.
you can only learn and get better. So yeah, it's great playing with him, and yeah, he's just an unreal guy and an unreal player. So big help for us this year.
And he's signed back up for next season as well. How big is that for Peterborough to be able to keep a player caliber like him who could probably still play in the elite league? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's unreal for us. He's the core guy. I think he's one of those guys where you'd want to build a team around him. So to have him in the team, it's just a great start for our next season. So he's the most humble guy, like Billy said. He's just amazing to be around. Obviously, he could, like you said, he could have just come in and just said, "This is my team now," but he just didn't.
Yeah,
He took everyone in. He took sorry. He brings the young guys in and makes them feel confident and comfortable in the change room, which you really need. And it showed at the end of when we won in Coventry how he got emotional, and it just shows that it means as much to him as it did to anyone else. And I don't think he didn't have to come into the team. He didn't have to bring what he did into the team and be so humble. So for him to do that, it just shows what a character he is and just a great guy to have on the team.
yeah.
I have to ask Jasper. This season I feel like you've improved your physical game quite a lot. You get under people's nerves quite a lot in games. I think you especially did that in Coventry. How has the physical aspect of your game kind of like increased this year? Because it seems like every check you do, you just kind of follow through.
Yeah, I think every guy kind of has their role in the team, and I think coming into this league, I almost enjoyed having like the role of being a little bit ratty, a bit of getting under the guy's skin. It just, I don't know, it brings a bit of excitement to the game to me. I think finishing your hits is just, I think it's just part of the game. I love it. So whenever I see the opportunity, I won't scare away. I won't back down from it. I think it gives other guys on the team a helping hand because they know that if they're back checking onto the boards, they know that they're going to get hit from behind. Well,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think I just love it. I like finishing the hits, getting under people's skin. I like seeing the reaction. So that's a bit of me.
Billy, obviously coming into the league, you've been at Peterborough for a while now, actually, but your first couple seasons in the NIHL, how have you found settling into the physicality, the speed as a defenseman?
Oh yeah, it's a big step up from juniors and NHL one and NHL two, but I've loved it. I find it. I love the challenge of trying to stop Kieran Brown or Matt Cowlett. You get that they're the games you want to play.
Yeah,
You go MK Herman, like there's guys all around the league, every team. There's guys that are top end skill, and yeah, I love the challenge of trying to stop them every week. And yeah, I've loved it. I've just loved learning from everyone. The decor in Peterborough's, the skill in that is crazy, and the experience and getting to learn from those guys each week is just, I love it. And yeah, I've just really loved, stepping into this league and trying to prove myself. So yeah, I've loved every minute of it, to be honest with you.
nice one. Go on, Charlie.
Would you say Billy is like a big strength of your game to people watching? How would you say what's your biggest strength in terms of being a D man?
Uh, I'd probably describe myself as more as a defensive defenseman. I mean, I will, try and help offensively when I can, and but
Mm,
I just love trying to, like I said, shutting guys down. Stopping those Kieran Browns, Mike Hallett's. I like that. It's a
yeah.
good challenge and blocking shots, and I'll do anything for the team. I'll block a shot. I'll take a putt to the face. I'm not too bothered, to be honest with you. Yeah, I play a bit like gritty in the corners and stuff. I'll take pride in the D zone and defense first. That's kind of my motto. And if I can help the team out in any way, I will. So yeah, I'd say I'm more of a defensive guy and take pride in stopping the opposition from scoring and help out
Yeah.
offensively when I can. So yeah.
I got
that definitely was noticed.
Yeah, I was going to just move on to commentary. How was it? I'll start with you, Jasper. I think it was 2 or 3 minutes to go, and it was 3-3. Leeds are putting on a lot of pressure, and Slava sends out the third line to go and battle against the likes of Matt Howlett. How was that for you personally, with Slava giving you that responsibility of shutting those top guys down as well on the defensive end?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought I almost weren't expecting to go out, but I think when Slava gives you that opportunity, you got to take it. You can't back down from it. And I think giving them opportunities, it shows how much trust he has in the young guys, he has in the third line. And it just shows how much ice time he's given Billy this year because
yeah,
the young guys, they can do it. They can step up when they need to. And I think it just shows by him giving us that opportunity. And I mean, it paid off. We were the ones to lift the trophy at the end, but
yeah.
don't get me wrong, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but you take those opportunities when they come, and I think we did a good job doing it, and nothing came from it. So here we are now.
Yeah, well, Billy, you were on for that. I think we mentioned on the pod, 50 seconds of that penalty kill. 4-on-3 against, I think it was Brown, Howlett, Hayward, and Witkowski. How was that, killing that penalty, knowing that if Leeds were going to score, then the playoffs would be over? How was that? And I think you blocked a shot from Matt Howlett as well.
It was kind of weird, to be fair, because you'd think like I'd be nervous. I don't know. For some reason, I just wasn't nervous. I feel like, and I watched the 5-on-3 back. Like we didn't really give them much.
Yeah.
Like I think they had a couple shots on target. They didn't really create much.
Mm.
No, but me and Brad, when Slava told us to go, I was like, he said the right name. Like, did you want me to actually go? But yeah, I think we had Wells out there, and he honestly he doesn't stop talking. He was a huge part of that 5-on-3. Sorry, 4-on-3. Yeah, he constantly was communicating with me and Brad, telling us where to go, what to do, and yeah, he's such a great leader, and yeah, so he was a massive part of that, and yeah, obviously it was great to go out there, and well, it would have been nice to win it, but I guess I guess you're going on to
I
that.
gotta ask.
Yeah, go on,
Can
Charlie.
you talk us through that moment of on the short-handed, about 10, well, it's about 7-8 seconds to go, and you got the 2-on-1. Talk us through kind of the whole moment of that breakaway.
Well, I see Brad poke check it into neutral zone, and he was gone. I looked up, and there was 10 seconds left, and I thought, if we get going here, we can probably get to the net. And I was just thinking, don't miss it, don't miss it, don't miss it. And it comes to me, and it just explodes off my stick, and I'm like, oh my god! Like the one thing I didn't want to happen happened. Yeah, but luckily Feds won it for us, and we can joke about it now. But I think if we lost, I would have been I wouldn't be very happy, to be honest with you.
What does that say though? Because I actually watched you when you were skating back to the bench after missing it, and the buzzer had gone as well. But every single player on that bench, all the older guys, the veteran guys, tapped you on the head. Were like, "No, don't worry, Billy. Don't worry about it." What kind of things were they saying when you were going back to the bench?
Yeah, that's the thing. I could have gone to the bench and they would have been a bit annoyed that I missed and said, like, come on, you should have. But no, guys were coming like, keep your head up. Like, we're fine. We've still got this. We've still got plenty of shots. Like, it's fine. It happens. Like, it's part of the game. Things happen. And obviously, I would have loved to have scored it, but it didn't happen. But yeah, as I said, I'm just lucky we won. And yeah, all the guys were like so good to me when I got to the bench. They were like, yeah, keep your head up. Like, you're fine. So that's what you need. And that just shows the kind of guys we got in that room.
Onto the penalty shots. Obviously, it was quite a anticlimactic one because you've got that whole nervousness and thrill of the penalty shots. Then, obviously, what happened with the fan and everything just stopped, and then you had to try and get back into game time again with the penalty shots. But Jasper, just talk us through the penalty shootout because your heart must watching it from the bench. You must have been racing because as a fan, and we're Swindon fans, but we were even rooting for you guys, and it was just nuts.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I felt nerves like it. It was just every opportunity they came was just you just went in almost in slow motion. Like the shots would go past and they'd miss, or you'd hear it hit the boards, and you'd just be like, "Okay, breathe," and then we'd go again, and then the nerves would start again. So it was a whirlwind of emotions. I can't lie. Obviously, the thing that happened in the stands, I couldn't even tell you if it helped us or it didn't. But it was just a really strange event that happened, and it just stopped the game completely. And then obviously went into the sudden death, and yeah, I think once they miss their penalty shot, you see Feds jump on, and it's like
You knew it was going in.
we might have a chance. But yeah, and then obviously I missed out Brad's penalty shot, which was just you guys have spoke about it because you got
It's disgusting.
just filthy. He came back to the bench, and the first thing I said to him was like, "Why would you even do that? Why?"
Datsu, like who's doing the Datsu on a sudden death? In my opinion, like the most tense game in the National League, and you do the Datsu to keep your team in.
Sudden death in Coventry, and you pull out a move like that, it just shows you how skilled he is. He's just, like I said in my other podcast, he is the most skilled guy I think I played with, and games like that, he pulls it off and it works.
But it wasn't over after that because Marzi still had to go and save that. And I was going to go on to him because that playoff weekend was one of the most locked in Jordan Mars I think I've seen. And it just shows how good he can be when he's on it.
Oh, 100%. I think this playoff is probably the best I've seen him play.
Yeah.
My time of playing with him, obviously, I got to watch from the stands in the playoffs because I weren't playing. But watching like that, it was just on it like backdoor plays. He'd somehow get there, just making some serious saves that was kept us in the game a lot of the time. And in Coventry, it just showed how experienced he is by keeping his cool in such a big situation like that. And he's honestly one of the main reasons why we got to lift the trophy at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Billy, I've got to ask this: is there more of a casual player than Alex Padalect in hockey? Because the guy just strolls off a shift and just acts like he's done nothing.
Yeah, he's got so much experience, doesn't he? You know, he's such a skilled guy, and you can see that. I think on it was Telford on the Saturday. Yeah. It was 2-2, and I think it was the third goal. He just had it behind the net. He just stood there.
Yeah,
and we're just looking at him. He just dished it to Glossy in front and scored. We're like how's that? And he goes and scores like the next shift, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, his experience and skill that really helps us at the weekend just gone. And yeah, obviously he's a great player. And another guy that's cool headed is Callum Douglas. But honestly, he's playing with him, like he's just so calm in the park, and yeah, he's a great guy as well. So we've got loads of guys in there that that are calm and just make it look easy. But yeah.
Do you think Peterborough's been the perfect place for you personally to learn off some of those guys like Tom Norton, Robson, who's been around it for ages, and then you got a different type of defenseman in Callum? Do you think all of those players together have, obviously you've got the skill yourself, but have moulded you into being the player you are as well and settling into the National League?
Oh yeah, 100%. You got Norts who's played for the Panthers, been around, been there 10 years, we've got the experience and the skill, and then you've got obviously like the youth of like Brad. I've played with Brad most of this year, since Robert's been out, and just seeing him play, like he'll go get the puck and you think he's gonna go DT and he'll just turn up and dangle two guys and scout the zone. It's just crazy watching him play. But yeah, I learn from all of them. They'll bring something different and help me try and mold my game, and I'm just trying to learn from them every week. And yeah, I think, as I said, I think it's the best D-core to be a part of as a kid, and I've learned so much from them since I've started playing. So
yeah.
Jasper, what was it like playing with Jarvis Hunt, who had a very, very, very solid weekend? He was good, and Glossip, he was solid as well, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, Jarvis he's a great guy to play with. I think me and him almost have the same kind of game style. We like to finish our hits and play a rough game. So I think just watching him play this week, the weekend gone, it was he just managed to just pull things out of the bag that maybe other people wouldn't have seen. Obviously, his 2 goals on the weekend were both the first goals of each game. So that's kind of how ready he was to play, when I think maybe others weren't. I think he had the speed and the physicality. So I think he's just a great guy to play with. I think he's so easy to play with as well. He'll give you the puck, get you the puck, and he's just, like I said, we both like going out playing a physical game and try and make it so people don't like playing against us. And obviously Glossy, he came in halfway through the season, and I didn't really know who he was, and he just turned out to be the most hardworking guy. He just skates for everything and makes it difficult for the defenders behind the net. So having him was a great addition, and obviously he scored as well, which gives us the opportunity to be able to lift the cup at the end. But yeah, the both of them, I love playing with both of them. My first weekend back in playoffs, so they made it easy for me, and hopefully they'd say that I made it easy for them. So yeah, for us to go out, it would finish how we did. It was just a great end to the season.
I've got to ask, it's gone for you, and well, obviously in the playoffs it went for you, but it's also gone against you this season. Goal line technology was the big talking point on Saturday, and obviously, Callum's shot did go just across the line, but it didn't quite go over. But then earlier on the season, you look back at, I think you were Milton Keynes, and it went through the side of the goal. Billy, I'll start with you. Do you think a big progression of this league because of how competitive it's getting? Do you think a big progression would be to get in some goal line technology and replays to help the referees?
Yeah, I think, if you want to progress the sport, you need to invest in it. And I think obviously you see that goal on Saturday, did it cross line, did it not? I guess we'll never know. But obviously if you had that video technology, you would know, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
cause the controversy that it's caused. But then you look at the first goal on Sunday, like
Yeah,
North's
I don't think that crossed the line either.
no one knows that cross line. So it's swings and roundabouts. Obviously, if you had the technology, you'd know for sure. So it would save a lot of ag, and it would help the refs out a little bit as well. So I think it's needed,
Yeah.
especially in big games like that. If you're in a playoff final and it's decided from a controversial goal, and then it's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I think that would be a good investment in the sport, and it would help it as well. So yeah, I think it would be a good idea to introduce that in.
Yeah, nice one. Go on, Charlie.
Does Jasper have an opinion on goal line
Oh,
technology?
Yeah, I think like Billy said it. I think if you want to progress the sport, because obviously it is becoming a bigger sport in the UK, you've got to invest in things like that will make it easier and you won't have the controversy. But like Billy said, Telford, we don't know if it crossed the line. Leeds, you don't know if it crossed the line. So you just got to take it as it comes and just adapt to any situation, and that's what we did.
well, also, actually, quickly, I'll ask you, lads. Obviously, I think you got a ban this season, Jasper. What's your opinions on? I know you might not be able to go too deeply on it, but do you think there should be a better system in place to kind of protect some players as well? Because some of them are getting silly bans, and some like it's just a bit of a mess at the moment with the whole system.
Yeah, obviously, I don't really know how it works in detail, but I think for me, it was hard to say because it looked worse than what it was. I didn't actually mean to elbow him, but
Yeah,
obviously anyone could say that and not mean it. But
yeah,
I'm not really 100% on how it works, but maybe I think there's got to be a set ban, and I think they've all got to be judged fairly because I think there's been some that have been soft and some that have been bad,
yeah,
not just here, but all over the league. So it'd be nice to see maybe a bit of a step upon the Department of Player Safety, but I'm not really the one to talk about on that one. I've
yeah, yeah.
just I'm a bit biased on my band, but other people probably saw it worse. Others saw it not as bad. So obviously, I'm going to say that it needs to be improved because I was a bit angry about my band, but it is what it is. It's sport, so I think you just got to take it on the chin and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Charlie.
Um, I think we got to talk about the master, the guy who gets everything cooking. He's won 6 trophies in the last 10 years. What is it like playing under Slava? We'll start off with Billy.
Yeah, I think he's the best coach in the league. The way I think Peterborough is the best club in the league just to bring young guys through. If you're looking
Yeah,
at the 5, 6 years, and you got me, Brad, Jarvis, you had Archie, you got Jasper, Louis, Leo. Like there's
yeah,
countless guys that he's brought up, and he puts trust in young guys as well. You look at some teams and they have hardly any young guys in their team. But yeah, he loves the sport so much. He's always trying to improve. He's always trying to improve us as players, and he tries to make it a professional environment. We do video reviews. He sends each guy's videos and just to help try and make them improve in their game. So yeah, the level of detail he goes into and the passion he has for the game, that's why so many guys get attracted to come to play for Peterborough because he's such a good coach. And yeah, it just speaks for itself. 6 trophies in what is it? Oh, how many years? I don't know, nine, 10 years.
9 years.
9 years. So yeah, that just speaks for itself.
And Jasper, obviously, you won the trophy last season, the cup against Leeds. You beat Leeds again in the final. I think you've been underdogs in both of them finals, but Slava just manages to coach the guys. And I think it's a credit to the whole team as well. because everyone just buys into the way he wants to play, and even if it's not the prettiest game against Leeds, it works, and you guys have come out playoff champions against all the odds against the league champions.
Yeah, I think like Billy said, he sends you so many videos and all of that stuff, and he uses so many systems that will work against teams like that. And I think if you buy in, it will work because he's got so much experience. He knows how to play the game more than anyone else. So I think if you buy into what he's saying, then you are going to be successful. Um, and I think, like Billy said, bringing in the young guys, it clearly works. Yeah, I don't think any other coach in the league that are bringing in through as many guys that are of the young age that we have. So I think he's just such a good way. He just I don't know how to describe it. He uses the young guys in a way that I don't think other coaches would.
Yeah.
The energy he uses and like Billy gives them the opportunity to then progress into a good player rather than coming through a different system and then having to develop when you're older. So I think him giving the young guys the opportunity really progresses their game further than anyone else would.
Yeah. And obviously Slava as well. He's just got his way of playing. He's been criticised over many years, but I think does he always work on defense first? Every guy has to defend because we'll go. I was going to ask. I'll go into it now. Actually, bringing in the European imports, we've seen over the last few years. He likes his European imports. He's brought in Bjorkley Nordstrom. It just seems like defense first with those, and then attack. Is that kind of the motto for it, Billy?
It's all subjective, I guess, to who we're playing.
Yeah,
We know Leeds were going to come out hard, and like they did against Swindon, they scored four in, I don't know, what
yeah,
was it, 10 minutes. So we knew we had to weather a storm, and he'll plan towards that. He'll run us through tactics and systems that he wants us to play. That's going to give us the best opportunity to stay in the game. Yeah, and I think he coached that game, to a T. He set a plan out, we executed, and yeah, we're lifting the trophy at the end of it. So yeah, it's all subjective to who we're playing. Obviously, some teams will try and probably be on the front foot a bit more, or if we know teams are quite attacking, we'll try and soak up some pressure and then go at them. But yeah, I think defense first is our motto. If good D zone brings good offense, and yeah, so it worked for us in the playoffs. So
yeah.
yeah,
And well,
For 10 years, really.
well, Bjorkley Nordstrom, I just mentioned, he's come in. He's only 21 years old. I think a lot of fans forget he's only 21 and he signed another 2 years of the club. My favourite play from the weekend was when he come in the D zone, he nipped the puck of someone, went up the other end. I just think that shows the two-way kind of player which he is, Jasper. What are the kind of the stuff which you see in Bjorkley? Because I think he's had quite an underrated season for Peterborough.
Yeah, I think he's just so skilled on everything he does. I think he's an underrated player massively. I think he's up there with one of the best in the league, and I think
Yeah.
his points showed that by in the playoff and in the league. Um, I got the chance to live with him in Peterborough, and I think he's just a good guy off the ice as well. He is mental as well, so that just gives you the insight on him. But on the ice, he just the plays he makes, he's so quick with it, and then I think he uses his height and his reach in his favour. A lot of the time, he'll like make it look like he's going to go to the middle and drive wide, and
Mm.
he'll get to the net and use his strength to get to the net and make plays. I think he probably sees the ice better than most people in the league, and I think that just shows the level that he's played at it throughout his junior career. So for him to come into our team was a massive, massive bump up for us, and he just came in and provided the help that we needed when maybe we needed him the most.
Yeah.
And another player who Slava's really helped develop this year and kind of turned up into playoffs and hit his best form was Austin Mitchell King. How do you think he's been, Billy? Because he swapped lines actually. He was one of the players to go onto the second line after playing first line the night before, but he just fits in like a glove. How's his game kind of just he kept kind of like really shut out this playoffs?
yeah, I think he had a good year, and then obviously you've seen playoffs. He's just been unreal.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He uses his strength and his size to his advantage, and yeah, he's got a good shot, and he's only young as well. I don't know what he is, 22,
Yeah.
23. I'm not
I
sure.
think he's 22, 23. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, look how good he is already, playing big minutes, big roles on the power play. So yeah, he's a great skill guy, and I think like he's going to develop into a proper good player, and maybe even make elite league one day. I think he's got the potential too, and yeah, he's a great guy to be with as well. He's a good player and good person.
What talk us through the celebrations then? Obviously, you win, you spend some time on the ice. What was it like after? Was it straight back to Peterborough on the bus, Jasper?
Yeah, it was a heavy one. I think I was drunk getting off the ice. Um, but yeah, it was just crazy. It was just so many people were just everywhere. Like half of us were in the change room, half of us were still on the ice, half of us were in the bar. Just crazy. Just it was a bit of a blur, really, to be honest with you. I don't know whether that's the alcohol or just the excitement, but yeah, I think it's the things that you'll always remember because getting on the bus, getting the trophy, we're all drinking, and then we end up going out on the Sunday and all having a good team night out. So
Oh,
just the
nice.
things like that is what makes it all worth it at the end of the year. You've put your body on the line all year, and then it finally pays off to have a night like that and have a bit of silverware.
How nice was it as well to see Duncan come up the end and you guys winning it for him and him celebrating with the fans? How nice was that, Billy?
Yeah, it was great to see. Obviously him getting injured, we hated it. It was his season over, and to win that, we was doing it for him as well. He was there the whole time. He was kind of a stat guy, so we got him on stats and the face-offs and that. So he played a part in it. He was
Yeah.
getting stats for us, and yeah, that's his trophy as much as it is ours. And yeah, it was great to see him lift it at the end.
Who was one of the guys in the pub who kind of shocked you with their celebrations? Who went quite wild?
You got Gretz and Glossy. They went pretty hard. Yeah, Gretz was loving it. Yeah, we all had a good time. You got to celebrate these things, and to celebrate it as a team, it was great. And having that silverware there, it was just capped off a season. And yeah, I think it would be stay in our memory forever. So yeah, it was great.
How
Yeah.
nice, sorry, how nice was it to have your family on the ice? I saw after your family's come down, I think your girlfriend come down as well. How nice was it to share that experience at such a young age as well? Because you're both still at the start of your careers.
Oh yeah, it's great. We wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for them, and to share it with them, and it wouldn't let them lift the trophy as well. It's good, and you do it for them. You do it for the boys, and you do it for your family. So yeah, it was great having them on the ice and sharing that moment with them as well. And yeah, I've only been playing 3 years, and I've already won the cup and playoffs, so it's not too bad. To be fair, it's not. Some guys go their whole career and not even winning one. So yeah, hopefully many more to come. And yeah, I'm just thankful that we've had the success we've had, and to share it with your family as well. It's special. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Like you said, Billy, both of you guys are young. Jasper, how hungry are you to win more trophies now you've won two? What does it start building that winning mentality in you young lads to kind of be like, we know what it's like in these big games and we're gonna get back to Coventry, back winning. What's it like, Jasper?
Yeah, for sure. Like Billy said, it's my third year as well. We've already won two, so we got to keep the train rolling and get some more silverware underneath our belt. But just the feeling of winning and jumping on the ice and celebrating it with your family, your friends, and the team, and all of that just makes it so worth it. So when you're in a big game like that, and maybe say you got Svet winding up a slap shot and the cup's on the line, you will put your body in front of it, even though you don't like anything. But things like that, it makes it all worth it in the end. So then you can go home, you can remember the memories that you had, and make it all worth it at the end.
What kind of stuff are you going to be doing now, the off season? Obviously, you got 3 months. I don't know what jobs you guys have, but what kind of stuff are you going to be doing getting ready for next season? Are you still able to get on the ice?
I'll probably just chill out for a few weeks. It's a
Yeah,
long year, and I don't know how many games, but I think it's close to 60 games. So it's
yeah,
good
yeah.
to have that rest. Yeah, then I'll get in the gym, start getting ready for next year, and ice time. There will be some summer stuff, and I have GB trials as well, so
Oh, nice one.
I'll have those throughout the summer as well. So yeah, I'll be keeping busy.
And you, Jasper, are you still living with Bjorkley Nordstrom at the moment in the off season, or have you come back?
I've come back home now, and he's headed off to Sweden again.
Oh, okay.
So we just both come home for the summer. Gym starts tomorrow for me, so
Oh, straight in it.
and then yeah, mixing in gym with a couple of holidays, so it should be a nice rest. I think it's a deserved rest. So you just got to mix in, kind of balance the two, and then make sure that you're ready to come back in the summer to go back to war.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice
wrong
one.
answer, boys. It should have been listening to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast. You failed the test. You failed the test.
I've watched them all. I've watched them all.
Oh, I
So
appreciate that. Well,
I've actually watched them.
we bigged you guys up in the last one, so Is there any players who we should get on? Who would be a real good laugh?
I
Oh, Ivan Gretz on a duo podcast. I reckon that'd be quite a good laugh. To be fair,
He's still
yeah,
young, isn't he?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. All
Greg's
got,
that player you hate to watch against your team. He's just so
yeah,
annoying. Like he'll jump your player if he does some of
yeah.
this. He'll do all the dirty stuff. But it did make me laugh seeing him win the cup on thing, and you're just thinking, yeah, fair play, fair play.
You
He
you
loved
jumped
it.
up on the boards as well, Jasper. Did you have that plan for the pictures after?
oh, we got told to do it.
Oh,
Media woman, so the picture came out great, and I know a
yeah, it's
couple.
a good picture.
I wish I did that, so I'm glad I got that picture. It's whacked it straight on the Instagram, so
That photo, I need to see it now.
got to follow me.
Oh, I got the Macca's top. Oh, that photo, yeah, yeah, the iconic one. But yes, it was a good, successful end to the season, wasn't it?
Should we end it then on Will Weldon because he has been at Peterborough, I think, for over 13 years now. He was probably a player you watched coming up through Peterborough as well. How big of a miss is that going to be as well? And he was captain in the team for the cup win and the playoffs as well. We'll start with Billy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge miss. He's such a big leader and a big character in the room, and he's a great player as well. Face-off wise, I think he's probably the best face-off taker in the league. So it's gonna be hard to replace him. He's a leader and he takes charge. But yeah, he's had a great career, and obviously there's no better way to cap it off for him than winning playoffs. So I was happy for him to get that, and yeah, but he's gonna be a huge miss. And but I wish him all the best in retirement. So.
Was that an incentive, Jasper? Obviously, him ending it on that playoff win as well.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, someone like Wells is just such a good captain and such a great guy that you want to give him the opportunity to take home and finish off on such a high. So I think everyone in the back of their minds they had that set of winning it for him as well, and to get the job done was just a great feeling. And seeing him lift the trophy one last time on the last time stepping on the ice is just an unreal feeling that I don't think many people thought we would do. But
Yeah.
to go against the odds is just a great feeling, and for him, I bet he's buzzing. Seen quite a lot of photos with him still with the cup now, so he's yeah, but yeah, he's going to have a great time in retirement, and I think he's going to be he can finally relax now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Go on, Charlie. You always end with this question.
We'll let you both answer it. But what's your message to the Peterborough fans? How good were they at Coventry? We'll start off with you, Billy.
Yeah, obviously thanks for supporting us all year. Coventry, there was, I remember looking up and I was thinking, bloody hell, we have that many fans. There's so many people there. But yeah, they've like the classic, they're the sixth man on the ice, and they've helped us for all year. Through thick and thin, injuries, suspensions, they've always stuck behind us, and yeah, that we did it for them as well, and hopefully, they're proud of us that we brought the trophy back to Peterborough. So yeah, just wanted to thank them for the support they've given us this year, and yeah, let's do it again next year. So yeah.
Nice one. And you, Jasper?
Yeah, it was amazing to see. Obviously, the first time we went to Coventry, we were almost kind of tucked in the corner, being a smaller club. But it was nice for us to have the biggest stand, and it just shows how many people that we can actually bring there to see that. It was just amazing. And like Billy said, it's cliche, but they are the sixth man on the ice, and they were loud. And I think for them to come and show their support means a lot to us and the boys. And we would have been drinking on the bus, and when we got off, they were all at the rink to
Oh,
celebrate. So that was pretty cool. A nice little touch to before we go out. So for them to come and take their time and spend their money on us is kind of crazy to think of, but we wouldn't be able to do it without them. So just a thanks to them.
yeah. And everyone at Coventry as well. They were much louder for the Peterborough boys as well over Leeds. I think everyone wanted to see that upset.
Yeah, it was good to see. To be fair, having the support of we had the classic underdog story, and
Yeah.
people loved it. But yeah, just thanks to all the fans, and yeah, hopefully they'll bring the same next year.
Boys, thank you very much for hopping on. Go enjoy yourself. Enjoy your gym session tomorrow, Jasper, and good luck for the next season. Have a good one.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you very much, Billy and Jasper, for hopping on. A really nice chat. We had a long chat with them after as well, didn't we? A little laugh. So yeah, we appreciate them hopping on. Congratulations again for winning the playoffs. And we've got nothing else to talk about. Obviously, we talked about a lot of signings at the start, Charlie. Hopefully, there's a lot more signings to talk about next week. But if there isn't, we'll create something to talk about, whether it's a funny little game or talking about some of the teams so far. So thank you very much for tuning in, Charlie. Have you got anything else to say?
Malas is the goat.
Oh, of course he's got to say that. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one. We'll probably try and get Dan in next week, but we've got a few interviews planned. So thank you for listening. Peace. I just choked. Peace.